Nandam. So this will kind of be a part two, but not really. It's this video is kind of connected to the last one, which I just made. But there's something more that I want to say about Swamiji's Satsang, which is just finished recently, about not taking life for granted. So I just shared with you all my take on not taking life for granted, what this Satsang brought up in me. And so there's another part to this sharing which I wanted to speak about today. So it's based off of an incident, an event that happened when I first came here to India. So just after I had taken my Sannyasi initiation, not long after, I had come here to this Ardinam, and a few of us were selected to be part of Swamiji's travel team, which meant that for inner awakenings that were outside of this campus, that we would be a part of that, of the preparation and making it happen. So behind the scenes, getting everything ready. So we were part of this travel team. And so I had been to India the year before on my personal travels for attending my inner awakening, and then back for Kumbh Mela, and that was me traveling in my Western clothes, just like a normal tourist, whatever. And I had heard for a long time Swamiji speaking about, and not just Swamiji, but obviously with his persecution, I could see that, hey, there's something amiss in how gurus are being defamed, how they're being disrespected, how the media is trying to paint them in a completely negative light. Like, it's not even negative, it's literally they're trying to destroy this beautiful tradition. It was clear for me, black and white. I could just see what is happening here. I had heard about the westernization of India, about secularism, about Hindus not being proud of standing up and sharing that they are Hindu, or even standing up for their rich tradition. And so while all of these things I could understand and I could even see for myself to an extent, I didn't realize just how much Hinduism was suffering. And I don't even want to use the word Hinduism because unfortunately, when we think of religion, we think of Abrahamic religions, we think of Christianity, we think of Islam, we think of fanaticism, we think of limited ways of life, of being controlled and brainwashed, and there's a whole heap of negative associations with the word religion. For me, my experience is Hinduism is not a religion, right? It's not an ideology. It's not something that I've had to convert to. It is a way of life. It is teachings which have inspired me to better myself, that have raised my consciousness, teachings that have given me tremendous emotional healing, tremendous stability within myself, and have really made me understand experientially what is my nature as a being, what is my connectedness to everything, and how to interact and relate with everything outside of me, or perceived outside of me. So there was no conversion, there was no anyone forcing anything upon me, no dogma, nothing that I had to convince me. It was something that I started experiencing, and it was a way of life that uplifted me. Instead of being life negative, it was life positive. It was nurturing celebration and gratitude and devotion and so many things, right? So there's a lot that I could speak about, but I won't, right? So when we speak about Hinduism, I understand how it brings about certain connotations. There's certain ideas that it will naturally bring up in people, and that's why I don't want to call it Hinduism, but for lack of a better word, this is what I'll be calling it today. So I could understand the plight of Hinduism and how much it was suffering. And obviously me seeing how much these ancient Vedic scriptures, how much the way of life had helped me I was very clear that this is something really precious that needs to be preserved. I I was a seeker. I was seeking enlightenment. I have no doubt that Hindu scriptures, Vedic scriptures, the Upanishads, the Agamas, whatever has come from the ancient rishis have downloaded from this space of deep meditation. I have no doubt in my heart and my mind that this is the way to enlightenment. Whatever else it is that you're following, obviously it'll be grace only that lands on you and that propels you forward. But unless this tradition and unless these texts, these scriptures are preserved and upheld, enlightenment, the science of enlightenment, which is there for all, will be lost. This much I'm very clear. I know this in my being, I know this in my heart, and this is why I am so passionate about standing for Swamiji, standing for Bharat, for India, and being here and making sure this doesn't happen, that Hinduism isn't lost, that the Vedic tradition, everything that has come from this rich, beautiful land, which was plundered and raped and pillaged, isn't lost, especially not to westernization. And whatever else is happening in this land, religious persecutions and other religions trying to take over and whatever, I'm here for standing up for what Swamiji is doing, for his vision, his mission. I could not align myself more to what he's doing. So back to this experience, right? So back to this thing that happened, which really opened my eyes as to the state that India is in. So we were traveling, we were part of Swamiji's travel team. So we had made it to beautiful Varanasi, where he was hosting this Inner Awakening program. And after the 21 days were finished, we traveled there by train. There was about, I think, 20 or 25 of us, including the camera crew and the like whichever departments were there that were like the skeleton team, making sure everything happens behind the scenes to get it ready for the participants when they get there. So we've traveled there. I think it was about a day and a half in the train, and these were like sleeper trains. So we were sharing, I don't know what you call them. They're not bunks, but they're not seats. It's kind of in between. It's in between like a cot, kind of like a bed, and seating. So you can sit and you can also lay down if you have to. So on the way back, the timing was really funny. So we boarded the train at like 2 a.m. in the morning, 2:30 or even 3 a.m. It was a really funny time. And we have with these trains, you have like 10 minutes to load yourself and all of the luggage that you're carrying with you onto this train, and then away you go. So all of us were trying to, and this train was full, all right? By the time it gets to us, it's full. We have to find our seats. We have allocated seating and tickets. So we have to get ourselves on the train with our luggage in about 10 minutes. And it's a packed train, and we have to find our seats. So at this early hour of the morning, there's a bit of commotion, right? We're making a bit of noise. We're trying to get us all in there. We're trying to make sure that we're all accounted for, that all the luggage is there, and then get ourselves in the seating. There's people that are occupying the seats that we're meant to be in, finding place for our luggage and ourselves. The train starts moving, and there was one person on this train. So this one woman who got extremely agitated. So the noise that we were making, we obviously woke her up. She was disrupted and she was unhappy. So immediately she started abusing us. And I couldn't understand what she was saying. She was speaking Hindi. But whatever it was she was saying, she was really aggravating. So we had sannyasis, like I said. So there were monks amongst us that were traveling. And then there were also like normal staff and whatever, like camera crew and whoever was there helping out with like technical things. So she was agitating really badly, one of these, a few people actually. So kind of a verbal argument ensued. And this got a bit heated, and anyway, just as quickly as it got heated, as quickly it died down again. So we could see that, all right, we're making noise and she's unhappy and whatever. We left it. So we all found our places, we dispersed, and I happened to be, my seating was on the top, like, row of these seats on this train, and she was down the bottom, to my right hand side against the side of the train. I could see her directly, she could see me directly. So whatever, we've slept for a few hours, and then when we've woken up, we have our morning routine, which doesn't stop for anything. So a part of our day as sannyasis in Swamiji Sampradaya is we take bath, and then we do our morning puja, and then we have our breakfast. So even on the train itself, we would have to go and, wash ourselves and then do our puja and then have our breakfast. So from the moment that I was up, the moment that I was like sitting up and doing whatever I was doing, she immediately started with her ranting and her raving again. So this is a 1.5 day journey, right? Even though I don't understand Hindi, the girl that was sitting like near me, another sannyasini, she was listening to what she was saying, and she was getting agitated and, saying, oh my God, like, she's not giving up. She's just outright abusing us of, look at how lazy we are, where we sit in some ashram and we're just fat and we don't do anything, and look at us. So this, like, right when she was ranting and raving, we were having our breakfast. Look at how fat they are, they don't do anything, they just sit in this ashram, they're lazy, they're worthless, they're useless, and whatever she was, going on about. And there was also a group of men underneath that were also laughing and joking and carrying on with her and kind of egging her on. And I thought, okay, after some time, surely she'll get tired of this. She didn't. And so she's making direct eye contact with me also. Even though I can't understand what she's saying, she's being so aggressive. And I'm telling you, I didn't know how to respond or how to behave. It took me by surprise. I've never in my life encountered anything like this. And this is me dressed in like these orange robes. I've never encountered anything like this. When I would travel, like my travels as a Westerner, I always felt safe. I always felt like everyone was so fascinated by who am I and what am I doing in India. And especially I was always wearing these Rudraksh beads. So who is this Westerner that's embracing Hinduism? But wearing these robes, it was completely different. And it was the first time that I tasted that. And so this group of men that were underneath, we came to know they were a group of Muslim men. So they were also encouraging and also making fun and whatever else. And I remember I was having one meal. So this is maybe dinner or we got to that part of the day. And so as I was eating, and I'm on this like top ledge, the train is moving and it's not stable and we're bumping around. She's still ranting. She's still abusing. She hasn't quit at all for the whole day. If I look down, she's just always looking up. I felt at one point like saying, God, take a picture, or, that I didn't even know how to respond to her. But we were just trying to ignore as much as we could. So then as I was eating this meal, the train has like moved in a way, and my eating utensil has fallen on the ground underneath. And then these guys, this group of guys that were there, the way they looked, I'll never forget this. The way they looked up at me with such anger and aggression and violence, and asking, hey, what the hell are you doing? Like, as if I had thrown, okay, it's an stupid thing, the spoon has fallen out of my hand. I'm trying to eat my meal. I'm trying to mind my own business. I don't even know how to deal with this situation or how to even respond to her. And my spoon has fallen down, and they're looking up at me saying, how dare you? This is, even with their looks and whatever, it was intimidating, right? It's a group of guys. I'm with my group of sannyasis. We're not all together. And that made me snap. This was the one thing that after all of this, listening to her crap on, and these guys, the way they were looking, it made me snap. And then I yelled down at him and saying, "You think I did this on purpose? What the hell is wrong with you?" And whatever it was that I reacted, I lost my cool, and I ended up getting some other thing to eat with. And I remember just getting really angry and really infuriated. And I was speaking with the Sannyasi saying, how can this be happening? Like, how can they be so rude and so disrespectful? We're trying to mind our own business. How can they treat people in this way? And then it made me realize that, you know, how Swamiji was saying that Hindus, unfortunately, they're so meek, right? They're so, they don't stand up for themselves, and they never protect themselves in the way that they should. If this were any other group of people, so we're Hindu monks, I don't know the language, number one. This finally made me snap, so I fought back with them. But if it were anyone else in any other country, if it were any other religion, this wouldn't be stood for. There's no way. It really made me understand that it's almost like a right in this country to abuse Hinduism. It's like there's no other word that I can use other than people feel entitled to it. Like they have this sense of, yeah, who are you? You're nothing. Yeah, I can abuse you. It's just, if it were a Muslim, if it were a Christian, if it were a Jew, if it were anyone else, it would not be stood for. There's no way. I could see it very, very clearly. There's no way. God, the whole fight would ensue. There would be a riot on that train. It would be all over the news. God knows what all not they would do. But that meekness in Hindus, which has, you know, come from long, long back, them not standing up for themselves, not standing up for Dharma, not standing up for anything, has created this situation where people feel they have a right to abuse. They feel entitled to it. They feel like, hey, what are we going to do anyway? Us fat, lazy sannyasis sitting in an ashram meditating. It was a really eye-opening experience for me. It may not seem like much, but at that time, especially being fresh in India, just having taken this, you know, these sacred robes and being so happy and proud, and, you know, that I was embracing this new life, it came as a very rude shock, a very unexpected and rude shock, especially that as a Westerner also, it was like, it didn't matter. It was completely like, it was like night and day. How I had been treated as a Westerner in Western clothing and how I was treated in this was like just completely different. And someone was sharing, someone that's a Swami that's quite close to Swamiji was sharing how, I think it was yesterday or the day before, he was watching a video series or TV series of Mahabharata. And in this TV series, he was noticing the subtle psychological ways that certain imagery was being manipulated. So I can't remember which example she used now. I wish I could. But oh, that's right. So there was a crown on, I don't know who it was now, I can't remember. But there was a crown on a Hindu deity where if you look at it, it was actually, it's a complete replica of Queen Victoria's crown. So this was one thing, and then they had manipulated some kind of symbology or something to do with Vishnu was reversed. And Swamiji was noticing these subtle differences, and he was saying how they're infiltrating even the psychology of Hindus through this kind of imagery, through these subtle ways. India is, unfortunately, is being attacked, or Hinduism in India is definitely under threat, and it's being attacked on every level, outright, openly, in subtle psychological ways, in so many ways that it is literally a do or die kind of a thing right now, where we have to stand up for Dharma, and we have to stand up for preserving what Hinduism stands for. And this may be kind of a a surprise of a video for some. You may not be expecting this. It's something that I have to verbalize and I have to say from the depth of my being. Like I said, I know that the ancient Vedic scriptures, the texts that have come from this land, everything that Swamiji is upholding, reviving, everything that he is giving to the world freely, from the free yoga, traditional yoga, to the completion technique, which has come from the Shiva Sutras. Everything from the alchemy products, which have come from the agamas, everything. This is the key to our enlightenment, to creating the science of enlightenment, the science of the third eye, the science of understanding what we are in this universe, what this universe actually is. Science is yet to catch up. Science will catch up. We don't have enough interest to prove these things which Swamiji is talking about. I don't doubt that it will happen in time. But with so much skepticism and so much back and forth and people strong, opinionated, whatever is there, as consciousness starts shifting, everything will eventually come out. And it's kind of this is what's coming to my mind now, so I'm gonna say the proof will be in the pudding. I know it's a really random thing, but all right, this is what's coming to me. I'll just share that. So the proof will be in the pudding that this is the key for the future, and this is the way forward for humanity. And Hindus, anyone that's watching this that considers themselves a Hindu, you have to stand for Dharma. You have to, with pride, understand what it is that this land is offering for the world, and make sure that it doesn't get lost, and understand these. If you don't understand, start understanding how India is suffering. If you don't understand the subtle psychology of how gurus are being attacked, how this tradition is being attacked, how so much of Hinduism is being abused right now, start understanding, start educating yourself, start educating others. This is not about fanaticism. This is not about some crazy whacked out religious war or nothing like that. This is really us preserving something that will otherwise be lost, and we cannot allow that to happen. If you've tasted the healing that I've tasted, if you have, or if you even understand what is at stake here, you won't be able to just sit there and be quiet. So I might just leave it at that. Let this be a clarion call for all to understand what is it that the Vedic tradition has to offer, why it's not a religion, why our gurus and people that are trying to preserve this tradition are being attacked, why all of this is happening, and for you to stand up in any way that you can. Right, so let's not take Hinduism for granted. Let's not take Swamiji for granted. Let's not take all of this beautiful tradition and this land. If you're living in India, don't take any of this for granted. Be proud, stand up, be strong, don't be meek. Celebrate life, and let's stand and make this thing happen. Let's make sure that the renaissance of Vedic culture, civilization comes back to life. Alrighty, so thank you all for tuning in.